She's pulling away, going cold, leaving you on red, and you can feel it. That shift from interested to distant. So what do most men do? They panic. They double text. They ask, "What's wrong?" They try to explain themselves. They chase harder thinking it proves they care. And here's what women will never tell you. That's the exact moment you lose her. Because the harder you chase a woman who's pulling back, the more you prove you don't understand the game. And I'm not talking about manipulation or playing games. I'm talking about basic human psychology that every woman knows, but most men never learn. There's one move that flips the entire dynamic when she starts distancing herself. It's counterintuitive. It feels wrong, and 90% of men will never do it because their ego won't let them. But the men who understand this, they never lose power in these situations. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that move is, why it works, and how to execute it perfectly. Now, before we go any further, let me be clear about something. This isn't about playing mind games or manipulating anyone. It's not about punishing her or being cold. Those approaches come from insecurity, and women can smell that a mile away. What we're talking about here is understanding basic relationship psychology that most men never learn. See, society tells men to communicate more, to chase harder, to prove yourself when she pulls back. But here's what nobody tells you. That advice works in books and movies, not in real human psychology. So let's break down exactly what's happening when a woman distances herself. And more importantly, why the move that feels completely wrong is actually the only one that works. When a woman starts distancing herself, most men make it about them. They think, "What did I do wrong?" Or, "She must be losing interest," or, "There's probably another guy." And that's exactly the trap. Because when you make her distance about you, you immediately lose your center. You start operating from a place of fear instead of a place of strength. And women can sense that shift instantly. Here's what's really happening. In most cases, she's not distancing because she hates you. She's distancing because she's either testing your emotional strength, feeling overwhelmed by the pace, or yes, genuinely losing interest. But here's the key. Only your response reveals which one it is. If you chase when she pulls back, you fail the test. If you panic when she needs space, you confirm her doubts. And if she was genuinely losing interest, chasing makes it permanent. Most men hear that advice and think, "Okay, I'll give her space," but then they're checking their phone every 10 minutes. They're still emotionally invested in getting a response. They're playing it cool on the outside while being a complete mess on the inside. And that's not strategic withdrawal. That's just freezing because you're scared. There's a massive difference between doing nothing out of fear and doing nothing strategically. One makes you look weak, the other makes you magnetic. So stay with me, because what I'm about to show you changes everything. Here's what we're covering. First, the one thing you must do when she goes distant and exactly why it works. Second, the psychology that makes your silence more powerful than any words. Third, what to do when she inevitably reaches back out. Fourth, the critical mistakes that ruin everything even if you did steps 1 through 3 perfectly. And fifth, how to maintain your frame so you never end up in this situation again. Let's get into it. So what is this one thing? Strategic withdrawal. When she distances herself, you mirror her distance completely. You stop initiating. You stop responding immediately. You match or reduce her energy. And I know what you're thinking. Isn't that just playing games? No. Here's the difference. Most men here give her space, and they think they're doing it right. But then they're obsessively checking their phone. They're watching her Instagram stories. They're drafting texts they don't send. They're mentally rehearsing conversations. That's not giving space. That's just being passive-aggressive while internally losing your mind. That's doing nothing out of fear. And women can sense that energy through the screen. Strategic withdrawal is different. It means you genuinely shift your focus away from her. You stop making her the center of your emotional world. Your attention goes to your life, your goals, your friends, other options. And here's the psychological mechanism that most men don't understand. Human beings want what moves away from them. When you're chasing her, You're abundant. You're available. You're predictable. There's no mystery, no tension, no challenge. But the moment you pull back, suddenly you become scarce. And scarcity creates value. Here's what this looks like practically. Stop all text initiation for a minimum of 3 to 7 days. No checking in messages. No, hey, how are you texts. No social media engagement. Don't like her posts. Don't view her stories. Don't comment on anything. If she texts you first, wait 4 to 6 hours minimum before responding. And when you do respond, match her text length and energy. She sends 3 words. You send 3 words. She's enthusiastic. You're friendly but not more enthusiastic than her. The internal frame you need to hold is this: I'm the priority, not the option. Now, here's what happens when you do this correctly. For the first day or 2, she feels relieved. She got the space she wanted. But by day 3 or 4, something shifts. She starts wondering why you're not chasing like other guys do. By day 5 to 7, she's thinking, wait, is he actually over this? Did I mess this up? That's loss aversion kicking in. When she had your attention, it was baseline, no emotion. When she loses your attention, it triggers anxiety. And that anxiety makes her reconsider everything. But here's where most men mess up even when they do the withdrawal right. They don't understand the psychology behind why this works. And that's what we're covering next. Because if you don't understand the why, you'll break too early or execute it wrong. Here's the deeper psychology you need to understand. Women are attracted to men with options. It's called pre-selection bias. When you're chasing a woman who's pulling back, you're sending a very clear signal. I have no other options. You're my only focus. I need you more than you need me. And that kills attraction instantly. But when you pull back, you signal the opposite. I have abundance. You're not my only option. My life continues with or without you. And that shift in perception changes everything. Second principle, women test for emotional strength constantly. When she distances herself, in many cases, it's an unconscious test. She's asking, will he crumble under this pressure? Will he become needy? Will he lose his center? Most men fail this test spectacularly. They chase harder, they get emotional, they start explaining themselves. And every one of those behaviors confirms her doubts. But when you stay unfazed, when you're busy with your own life, when you don't react emotionally to her pulling back, you pass the test. And passing that test makes you more attractive than any amount of chasing ever could. Third principle, attention has inverse value. Economics 101. The more freely you give your attention, the less it's worth. Think about it. If you're texting her constantly, always available, always responsive within minutes, your attention becomes the baseline. It's expected. It's worthless. But the moment you withdraw that attention, suddenly it becomes valuable. She starts wondering why you're not behaving like every other guy who chases her. And that question, why isn't he chasing me, is infinitely more powerful than any text you could send. Fourth principle, loss aversion is stronger than gain seeking. This is fundamental human psychology. People feel the pain of loss twice as intensely as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. When she had your attention freely, it was neutral, no strong emotion attached to it. But when she loses that attention, when you stop being available, her brain registers that as a loss. And losses hurt. They create anxiety. They make her question her decisions. She starts thinking, did I mess this up? Is he moving on? Do I actually care more than I thought I did? So here's what happens in her mind during your silence. Day 1 to 2, she feels good. She got the space she wanted. Day 3 to 4, she starts noticing you're not acting like other guys. Why hasn't he texted? Usually men don't give up this fast. Day 5 to 7, actual concern starts creeping in. Wait, is he actually over this? Did someone else get his attention? And at this point, loss aversion peaks. She's no longer thinking about why she pulled away. She's thinking about whether she's about to lose you. That's the power shift moment. And here's what that leads to. She reaches out first. Could be a text. Could be viewing your stories. Could be a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" But when she does, you're now in the position you should have been in from the start. The position of power. She's pursuing, you're responding. The dynamic is flipped. But this is where 90% of men ruin everything. They get that text and they blow it. So let's talk about exactly what to do when she inevitably reaches back out. So she texts you. Maybe it's, "Hey, how have you been?" Maybe it's a meme. Maybe it's some question about something random. This is the critical moment. And this is where most men get so excited that they blow all the progress they just made. The biggest mistake? Responding immediately with enthusiasm. You waited 5 days. She finally texts. And you respond within 2 minutes with, "Hey, I'm great. So good to hear from you. How are you?" That response just told her everything she needed to know. You were waiting. You were hoping she'd text. You weren't actually busy with your life. You were sitting there thinking about her. And just like that, all the power you built up is gone. Here's the correct response protocol. Wait 4 to 6 hours minimum before responding. If she texts you at 2 p.m., you respond between 6 and 8 p.m. Why? Because a man who genuinely moved on with his life isn't staring at his phone waiting for her text. He's at the gym, he's working, he's with friends, he's handling his life. And when he finally sees her text, he responds casually, without urgency. Second rule, match or slightly reduce her energy. If she says, "Hey, how have you been?" don't write 3 paragraphs about what you've been up to. Your response, "Been good, staying busy, what's up?" Short, friendly, not cold, but not eager, not apologetic, not explaining yourself, not asking about what happened, just casual forward momentum. Here's the psychology. You're showing her that you actually did move on. You're not rewarding her for finally texting. You're not punishing her either. That looks petty. You're just operating from a new frame. The frame is, I'm open to reconnecting, but I'm not desperate for it. My life continues either way. Now what happens next tells you everything. If she was genuinely interested, she'll invest more. She'll ask questions. She'll try to engage you. She'll suggest meeting up. If she was just testing whether you were still orbiting her, she'll give you a short response and disappear again. And honestly, that's perfect information. You just saved yourself weeks of wasted time. If she does invest, here's your escalation protocol. Don't suggest hanging out in the first 2 to 3 exchanges. Let the conversation develop naturally. If she suggests meeting, don't jump at it. Maybe. Let's see how the week goes. After 3 to 5 quality exchanges where she's clearly investing energy, then you suggest something casual and low pressure. But even if you do everything in this section perfectly, there are still 3 mistakes that will destroy your chances. And we need to talk about those now. Mistake number 1, breaking silence too early. You make it 3 days and the anxiety gets unbearable. You convince yourself, maybe 3 days is enough, or I don't want to lose her by waiting too long. So you text, and the moment you do, you prove you couldn't handle the discomfort. You show her you're still operating from a place of fear, not strength. Minimum 3 days, ideally 5 to 7. Every day of silence increases the psychological impact. Your discomfort during that silence is exactly what she needs to feel when she realizes she might be losing you. Mistake number 2, being cold or punishing when she reaches out. She texts, and you respond with, "Oh, so now you text back," or "Where were you last week?" Or you give her one-word responses that are clearly hostile. Here's the thing. That doesn't make you look strong. That makes you look petty and wounded. Women can tell the difference between a man who genuinely moved on and a man who's hurt and trying to punish her. High-value men don't punish. They simply have standards. They're friendly but not eager, casual but not cold. Mistake number 3, resuming old patterns once she shows interest again. This is the most common one. She texts. You respond well. She seems interested. You start feeling good. And then boom, you're back to texting her first every day. You're being overly available. You're putting in way more effort than she is. And within a week, she's distant again. Because you just proved that your strategic withdrawal wasn't real growth. It was just a temporary tactic. You went right back to the low-value behavior that made her pull away in the first place. Here's what you need to understand. The new frame has to be permanent. Even after she re-engages, you maintain the standard that you set. You still don't text first for at least 2 to 3 weeks. When you do eventually initiate, it's still 60 to 70% her initiating to your 30 to 40%. You still have a slight lag in responses. Not playing games, just operating from genuine abundance. The mindset has to be, I'm the prize she needs to work for, not the option she can access anytime. Mistake number 4, seeking validation or closure. Don't ask, so are we good now? Don't ask, what changed? Don't ask, why did you stop responding before? Those questions all scream, I still need your validation. I still need you to explain yourself to me. High-value men don't ask those questions. They move forward naturally, without needing to dissect the past. Now here's the uncomfortable truth most men need to hear. Here's the truth. Most dating advice won't tell you because it's not what you want to hear. If she truly lost interest, nothing you do will bring her back. And that's actually a good thing, because most men waste months, sometimes years, chasing women who already decided they're not interested. Your strategic withdrawal isn't manipulation. It's a truth revealer. If she doesn't reach back out, she wasn't that into you, and you just saved yourself months of wasted time and energy. Now I know that stings. But here's the empowering reframe. Your self-worth cannot depend on any one woman's response. Men who need specific women to validate them are operating from scarcity. Men who have standards for who enters their life are operating from abundance. The goal was never, get this one specific girl back. The goal is to become the type of man that women pursue. And the woman who's actually right for you, she'll meet you halfway. So ask yourself, would you rather spend months chasing someone who makes you feel disposable? Or would you rather invest that energy in becoming a man who never feels that way again? Would you rather manipulate one woman into staying? Or would you rather develop genuine confidence that attracts the right woman naturally? The shift from I need her to I deserve someone who values me is the difference between boys who beg and men who build. And that shift alone changes every relationship you'll ever have. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been in this exact situation where a woman distanced herself or started ignoring you? What did you do? Did you chase or did you pull back? And if you pulled back, what happened next? Drop your story in the comments below because I read every single one, and I respond to as many as I can. I'm not here to just lecture at you. I'm here to build a real conversation about how men can navigate relationships from a place of strength instead of desperation. Because this channel isn't just about dating tactics. It's about helping men understand psychology, build genuine confidence, and never feel powerless in relationships again. Every week I break down situations like this, the exact psychology, the moves that work, and the mindset shifts that change everything. If you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. And if this video changed how you see things, do me a favor and share it with one friend who needs to hear this. Sometimes one video can completely shift how a guy approaches relationships. Remember, your silence is more powerful than your words. Your attention has value, and a man who knows his worth doesn't chase, he becomes worth chasing. You're not the desperate guy checking his phone anymore. You're not the guy who loses himself trying to keep someone interested. You're the guy who understands his value, and that shift alone changes everything.